If you're into drifting, and you should be, you've probably heard of the 240 SX from Nissan. Maybe you've even heard specifics like mentions of the S13, S14, and the beautiful strawberry-faced S15 models. But you're probably thinking, what the heck are they even mean, James? The S Chassis started out in life as the underpinnings of affordable alternatives to larger and more powerful rear-wheel drive sports cars. Not only have countless stories been made with these cars, entire careers have been launched using the humble S Chassis. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Nissan Silvia 240 SX, 200 SX, 180 SX, S Chassis. If somehow you live inside of a rock and you haven't heard of these cars, the formula was pretty simple. The company used these S abbreviations to signify the development of their small rear-wheel drive car line, with S being derived from the name of the model in Japan, Silvia. The numbers represent which generation it was. 240 SX and the S Chassis story begins in 1976 with a car that nobody really remembers. While Nissan had a small-ish sports car in their Z car, that car was becoming more expensive each year. So they made just what they needed, the S10. Created to be the cheaper, lighter car that Nissan wanted and the rest of the world needed, the first S Chassis was born. Equipped with a 1.8-liter engine everywhere else and sold as Silvia's, American S10s were sold with a larger 2-liter engine and badged as 200 SXs. While Paul Newman had raced the earlier S10, the S110 received much more factory attention, gaining fame in a number of racing leagues. The two most famous of these racing S110s couldn't really have been more different from each other: the Group B 240 RS and the Japan-only Super Silhouette racers. We all know how crazy Group B was while it existed. All-wheel drive and spectators risking everything just to get closer to the cars. Nissan's entry to this series, the 240 RS, was not really any of these. Still, they had to make 200 road-going versions of the 240 RS for homologation rules, and thus graced the world's roads with a badass, rally-bred, box-flared creation. The other racing S10, the Super Silhouette racers built for the Japanese-only racing series, was insanely powerful. They made more power from their tuned turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder than the Formula One cars of the day. To handle this power, the company utilized some pretty extreme aero. Surprisingly, this car and others like it, which only raced for 4 years, spawned an entire subculture of its own, the insane BOSOZOKU culture in Japan. Nissan got rid of their S110 platform in 1984 and released the new S12 chassis. The S12 introduced the most important development in S chassis history: pop-up headlights. In all seriousness, the S12 generation was when Nissan started getting their act together and started to focus on the sport part of their affordable sport coupe. The S12 was available from the very first day with a turbocharged engine. Even in North America, that's right! Nissan sold a turbo S chassis car here. And you little idiots forgot about it. Shame. Nissan pulled the plug on turbochargers in 1987 for the US and instead introduced the new 200 SX Sports Edition. This car featured a unique trait among factory S chassis cars: a V6. Nissan killed the S12 in 1989 and introduced the car that cemented the S chassis into history: the S13. You ever heard of it? America received both a coupe and liftback version of the S13 and gained its name from the 2.4-liter 4-cylinder KA24 engine used in US cars, producing a whopping 140 horsepower and coming from a truck. This engine would weigh down the S13 in America from day one.
I mean, was it heavy? Did it achieve total heaviosity?
Despite this lack of motivation from the power plant, this engine in one form or another would be the only engine on offer for the rest of the S chassis life in the US. Meanwhile, over in the rest of the entire freaking world, the SR20 would soon be hitting the roads in the S13 with over 200 turbocharged horsepowers. This engine would turn out to be a tuner's wet dream, easily capable of handling 350 horsepower with only minor modifications. This power combined with the classic S Chassis formula, rear-wheel drive, lightweight, and affordable, would turn the S13 into a star in the new and growing sport of drifting. Pretty soon, Japanese underground drift stars were customizing their S13s in ways never before thought of. This would lay the foundation of drift culture as we know it. Late 1993 would see the introduction of the S14 Silvia in Japan, with the rest of the world receiving it in 1994. The car became wider, lower, and had a longer wheelbase, making drifting even easier. Styling can be divided between two distinct non-pop-up headlight periods. The earlier ZENKI cars, produced from 1994 to 96, and the more aggressive Kuki cars from 96 until the S15 was introduced in 99. America's S14 still had to soldier on with a mildly updated K24 engine, while the rest of the frickin' world still got the SR20 DET. Nissan reported 75% of 240SX customers in America were women. I wouldn't mind meeting the type of gal that bought a 240SX new. The final generation of the S Chassis, the S15, was introduced in 1999 and only lasted 3 short years. Sold only in Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, this car was slightly smaller than the S14 and was powered by the last and greatest SR20 offered from the factory. The S15 is the forbidden fruit of the model line to Americans, as they will be illegal to import and drive on the streets until 2024. Popular S Chassis models carry a sizable increase over their market value, a phenomenon better known as the drift tax. Despite this increased cost, Nissan's S Chassis has become a culture of its own. This same fan base has been clamoring for Nissan to build an S16 Silvia. Nissan has said repeatedly that the market just doesn't exist, and a better way to reach enthusiasts was through trendy and hip vehicles like the
Nissan Juke.
You know, Nissan owns Mitsubishi now, so they're the guys who made the Eclipse. However, recent rumors are that Nissan may have changed their little minds. With Toyota bringing back the Supra as well as already making the 8.6, the competition is ready and awaiting. Special thanks to Honey for sponsoring this episode of Up to Speed. The more of you who sign up for Honey, the more cool shows we get to bring you. What is Honey? Honey is a free browser extension that automatically finds the best coupons on the web, so you always get the best prices on everything you buy online. It does all of the work for you. Whenever there's a coupon code box, it searches for the deal. There's no reason that I can think of for you not to add Honey to your browser today. 1, it takes literally 2 clicks to do it. 2, it's free. 3, it's more than free because it'll save you money. 4, it helps us bring you more videos. Click on the link below to add Honey to your browser right now. Please do it. Literally everyone in our office uses it even before they sponsor. Or you can go join honey.com/donutmedia. We got a link down here. Please do it. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button. The more subs we get, the more cool stuff we get to do with you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us. You're the only reason that we have jobs. You wanna know a Japanese car that was never sold in Japan? Watch this episode of Up to Speed on the Eclipse. You like turbos? Want to know how they work? Watch this episode of Science Garage, hosted by my best friend Bart. I don't care if you like him more than me. You want some cool donut merch? Go to shop.donut.media. Follow me on Instagram @James Pumphrey. Follow Donut on Instagram @DonutMedia. I love you.